Right, hello. Hi there. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday Celebration Assembly live. So this is being broadcast live from my house. Now, I've had a few internet problems this week, so if it all goes crashing down, someone let me know and I'll find another way of doing it. But yeah, we're live from my house at the moment. I can see the little figures up in the top. We've got about 67 people have joined us so far. I know that last week we had over 900 people watch the video in all, which was fabulous. So welcome to all of you. We will start with a round of applause. Why not? Let's get the applause going. Now, this week, as you may know, if you've been watching my little videos, we have been thinking all about the power of books. And I hope that lots of you have been attentive to your books this week. I hope that you've been doing some reading. If you've been doing a bit every day, fabulous. If you've managed 5 reads this week, pretty good, well done. 3 or 4, that's not too bad. Less than 3, come on, you can do it, Wheatfield. Be inspired to read. I've got a few books here with me now. Some I showed you already. That one, David Attenborough, finished that one recently. This one, all about running. You know, I like my running. Started it a while ago, got back into it recently. And then this one, you might think it's a bit boring. This is one for work. It's called Why Don't Students Like School? A cognitive scientist answers questions about how the mind works and what it's for the classroom. Well, when I've read that, I might have a few new ideas for Wheatfield, so watch out. Anyway, what books are you reading? What books are you enjoying? And if you haven't found one yet, come on, let's find one for this lockdown period. It is so important. Now, before I begin, last week, I talked about 5 things. If you watch my video, 5 things we've got to remember. Can you remember those 5 things? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Let's just have a quick look. I've got my prompts here. So one was the thing I've just talked about, being inspired to read, reading regularly. The other was, it's not really about being inspired to run, but it's about doing some exercise. Hopefully you've been doing a bit of exercise every day. Okay, so a bit of reading, bit of exercise, that's 2. Third one, some praise postcards. Hopefully you've had some praise for some of your work, whether that's from your teachers or from your teachers at home. Okay, I did send out these postcards to families if you can print them and share them, but well done if you earned a postcard this week. What was the other thing? Clue, there's a pen. Yeah, we talked a bit about this, presentation and handwriting. Whoops, upside down, presentation and handwriting. And we talked a bit about how presentation and handwriting had gone a little bit down last lockdown. So you've all got your exercise books, hopefully. If you write, hopefully it is your very best efforts, okay? Maybe you've been recognised for that at home this week. And then the final one, what was number 5? What was number 5? What's really important to us? What's central to our school? What's about how we feel and how we treat each other? That's right. It's our values and our values awards. So choosing respect, taking responsibility, showing resilience and being kind. Okay? And it's hard to do all of those things all the time, but hopefully you've been mindful of those things whilst you've been at home. I'm sure you have. If you upheld some of our school values this week, give yourselves a massive clap now. Stand up, give yourselves a massive clap. Well done. Right, so let's start with our reception team. And let's see who they have been recognising, who they've chosen to recognise this week. So here we go. Miss Cook and Miss Dolby are so proud of reception. Their hard work this. We have seen people going outside for walks and going on scavenger hunts. Lots of wonderful writing and some really beautiful pictures of the night sky and so some model rockets that have been built. We've been reading the story Whatever Next this week and thinking about what we might need if we went to the moon. Miss Cook would like to shout out to 3 children this week. Freya for her beautiful sky painting linked to our story What Next. She put in lots of effort and she produced a really beautiful painting. Zoe for trying so hard with her reading and shooting all the way through her boxes, and Eloise, an amazing story map of whatever next. And Miss Dolby would like to shout out to Esme for working so hard on her word boxes and her reading. She's been practicing a lot, and this is even showing in how brilliant her writing is too. To Clay for creating an amazing obstacle course with Sister Imogen, and for working really hard on his reading and word boxes, which have shown an amazing improvement. And to Umar for always working so hard and trying his best. He's been doing some amazing neat writing, and he's even using capital letters and full stops in his sentences. Well, listen, reception team, fantastic effort. Big round of applause. Well done. Okay, here we go to team year one. So they say, well, year one, week 2 of home learning is complete. As always, Miss Evans and Miss Clark are lots of O's in that word, so proud of you. It's been amazing to see your pride in your home learning and your continued efforts with everything that you do. We're so grateful to all the parents too for their support during this time. We've enjoyed some baking, learning the Traction Man story, and continuing our place value unit. This week, Mr. Winterburn introduced the theme, The Power of Books, which is very fitting as we love reading in year 1. And it's been great to see so many of you engaging with Bug Club again. Okay, there's more about Bug Club coming. Lots of Bug Club reading coming up. Okay, so first off, in 1, Sid wrote me 3 beautiful sentences explaining why he had picked his 2 favourite books, and a little bit about them too. I was really pleased to see your writing, Jack, and I hope you continue to enjoy reading at home. I was also really proud of Amber, who made an action story comic strip and added writing for each picture too. I loved reading this story and seeing your amazing writing. Some great ideas within your comic strip too. Super Snake to the rescue. And then she's also been blown away by Arav, who has tried so hard across all learning areas this week. His action story was fantastic. He even made 3 little outfits for each of his characters so that they could continue their story outside. Keep up the amazing work. I've absolutely loved seeing you all on our catch-ups this week, and I hope you have the best weekend. So for 1E, Miss Evans says, again, another week where I could shout out to every single member of the class. You've been wonderful. I'd like to give my first shout out to Roman, who has been working so hard. Lots of O's again there for you, Roman. There's not an activity that he hasn't completed, and he's been putting his all into everything. I'm so proud of him. Secondly, I'd like to mention Reggie, who has come into school this week and absolutely blown with his writing. He's going above and beyond with his letter formation, and it's blown my socks off. I'd like to give my final shout out to Harper, who has been working hard on her reading at home. Her resilience and perseverance is incredible, and she should be really proud of herself. Well done to all of Year 1 for another cracking week of home learning. And also a big thank you to our parent reps, Jody and Jody. You are heroes. So a massive round of applause for Team Year 1. Okay, so the Year 2 team, straighten them up a little bit. Okay, so Team Year 2 say, well done, Year 2. You have done it again. You've blown us away with your incredible work this week, both in school and at home. We would like to say a massive well done for the responsibility that you've taken towards online learning. This week, Year 2 have been learning about past tense verbs and exclamation marks, and we were amazed with your recounts and diary entries written as Rebecca, as well as your learning around finding a half and a quarter of objects. We've also enjoyed hearing about the reading that you've been up to this week, are excited that Bug Club is back up and running. We know how much you enjoyed this last time. As always, it is really difficult to choose just 3 children. But this week, Miss Devine has chosen Izzy for engaging with Miss Burns' theme this week around her books. Izzy has been reading a chapter book and has been choosing to read part of it each day. Izzy finds this book special because she got it for Christmas. To Jacob, this week Jacob has been working hard on his computing skills. In year 2, we've been learning about algorithms and watched me program one of our probots. Jacob went above and beyond by creating his own algorithm. Well done, Jacob. And lastly, Hith, a shout out for his amazing presentation. He's been making sure that he presents his home learning just as beautifully as he in school. I was particularly impressed with the layout of his recount, where he used paragraphs to set out his work clearly. Very well done. And then Mrs. Brown's shout outs go to Connor. He's been amazing in school and has been doing some great work on exclamation marks. And then there's lots of exclamation marks. Erica for doing some amazing home learning, including learning some French. Alex, he's been doing some amazing work on past tense verbs in school, and he's also had beautiful handwriting at all times. And Mrs. Brown would also like to shout out, because although he's not us, he's been in school with her this week and has been showing all of the school values all of the time. And he's also produced some amazing work in school. Now, before we give them a clap, I had an email. So Mrs. Brown has been an amazing support for year 2. Not only is she responding about home learning, she's also juggling her homeschool duties, for her own family, and she's going into school every day to teach. Mrs. Brown and Miss Devine have put up some great videos to help us too. 2B, really appreciate your work. Thanks so much, Mrs. Brown, from Jay's family. So to Mrs. Brown, Miss Devine, and all the children and team in year 2, massive round of applause. Well done. Okay, so before we move to our year 3/4 team, I thought rather than me saying something this week, I try and find something different to put into our celebration assembly. So I've reached out to some of the other staff that we've got in school. I talk a lot about our teachers. They get their pictures up each week. So I've gone out to our support staff, all of our teaching assistants and others, and I've said to them, you can have a little slot in celebration each week. And if you would like to shout out, give me some shout outs. But I did say to them, mostly from our teaching assistants, but anyone else watching, other staff in school, if you want to shout out next week, email me and I'll get it into the script. So let's start with Mrs. Hodges. Mrs. Hodges wants to send a big shout out to Gemma in 2D for working hard on her home learning this week. Mum says that Gemma has been working through all of her phonics activities, checking her work and even spotting spelling mistakes and correcting them independently. Well done, Gemma. Keep it up. Hearing about your great attitude to learning puts us. That's from Mrs. Hodges. Okay, next up, Mrs. Binding. Mrs. Binding wants to shout out to Miss and Miss Dolby for their enthusiasm and dedication to all the children in reception. Thank you, Mrs. Binding. And then Mrs. Poles. Mrs. Poles wants to shout out to Miss Paget for her birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Miss Paget. We hope she had a lovely day, and to also say how fab she was, and to the children too, in the Year 4 Teams meetings this week. Thank you, Mrs. Poles. And then finally from our TAs, Mrs. Grotsky, Mrs. Morton Sherwood, and Mrs. Pedley would like to send a massive shout out to the wonderful Miss Evans and the magnificent Miss Clark, for being complete legends this week. We appreciate everything you do to make learning fun and engaging. An equally huge shout out goes to all of the children, both at home and in school, for your resilience and fab smiles. We are so happy to be part of the Year 1 team. So thank you to everyone who's contributed. A massive round of applause. Year 3. So Year 3 say, wow, another amazing week for Year 3. This week, Miss Daly has been so impressed with all of the children for their efforts with their home learning. It was so lovely to catch up with them on our Teams meetings too. She would like to give a special mention to 2 children. Firstly, to Ethan for having an amazing week of learning. It was so lovely to see him working hard and producing some fantastic writing. Well done, Ethan. Second, to Robin for producing a beautiful timeline during our history work this week. I could tell that she had put a huge amount of effort in. Lastly, Miss Daly wants to give a shout out to the whole class for being fantastic during the Teams meetings. They were also sensible and grown up. They waited their turn. They muted and unmuted themselves seamlessly, exactly when I asked them to. And they were respectful and responsible at all times. It made it an absolute joy to be part of, and will definitely be something that she looks forward to every week. And then on to Miss Gregory. Gregory would like to shout out to Mike for working so hard on her home learning. She's worked really hard when writing her non-chronological report about the snow water dragon, which swims in deep, deep water and can eat in one bite. Sounds fascinating. Miss Gregory would also like to shout out to Jack for being so enthusiastic about our history project topic, which is the Stone Age. Jack has created a timeline to find out when the Stone Age happened, and he's also created his own cave painting. Jack's enjoyment of history and his eagerness to find out more are lovely to see. Excuse me. And finally, Miss Gregory would also like to give a huge shout out to the whole class for being brilliant during their team's catch-up. Just like 3D, they were amazing. They listened well to each other. They took turns. They spoke clearly. And they all demonstrated our school values during the meeting. And it was great to see them. Well done, Year 3. Let's do it all again next week, they say. Well, I don't think we've got a choice about that. But let's have a round of applause. Well done. Okay, Year 4. So our Year 4 team, Miss Long says 4L have been superstars this week. They've had the challenge of learning to tell the time, never easy. Each and every single one of you has been extremely resilient, and I'm proud of what you've achieved this week. I'd like to shout out to Charlie. She has worked extremely hard. Even though she's had some limited internet, I know the feeling, Charlie. I've been extremely impressed with her writing, and it's clear that she has understood what's been asked. Massive well done, Charlie. To Brooke. Brooke, she's shown resilience and determination this week. Brooke has worked hard on her writing. She's punctuated it accurately, and her handwriting is beautiful. Well done, Brooke. And also the Year 4 key workers. Miss Long has had the pleasure of teaching the key worker pod this week, and she's thoroughly enjoyed it. You've all been resilient. You've worked so hard on your learning, and I've particularly enjoyed our geography lesson. Your insightful questions created a lovely discussion on the animals that are part of the polar biomes. Thank you, Miss Long. Miss Paget says, 4M, what a great week you've had. It's been lovely to catch up via our Teams meetings and see how you've been getting on. I know that settling into the second week of home learning has not been easy for all of you, but I've been amazed with your resilience and your positivity. Her shout outs go to Yogi, who's been working really hard with her home learning, particularly her times tables. Although they can be tricky, she's been determined to crack them and has been practicing her times table grids at homes. Keep it up, Yogi. And then to Sarajia, who has been following Mr. Winterburn's weekly themes and has been helping his parents around the house. I'm sure they're very grateful, and it's fantastic to see you practicing kindness and respect at home. Keep it up. Ms. Paget would also like to shout out to the parents who are doing all they can to make home learning work so well in Year 4. I know that lots of you are extremely busy, and Miss Long and I really appreciate you emailing us with updates about how the children are getting on. Equally, we really appreciate that you've been able to set the children up on Teams so that we can have our catch-ups, and we want to say a big thank you to the families. So big round of applause to everyone in Year 4. Okay, so before we move to our year 5-6 team, what are we going to do? Well, families, you may think that I left you out a little last week. I didn't mean to. We gave you a round of applause. We acknowledged your efforts. But if you remember the last lockdown, each week I did a little something for families. Now, last week it was a bit like Freshers Week, families. It was the first week back. It wasn't a full week. We were settling in. We were finding our routine. So no certificate last week. Sorry. But this week, I was reflecting on what you've done already, families, and you already, last time, you earned your QTS. So where on earth do we go from there? Well, I think there is only one place you go after you've done your QTS, and that is you become postgrads. Okay, you're now starting your postgraduate certificate in primary education, and you've worked incredibly hard, as we've heard. It sounds like you're keeping your patience. You two are upholding our school values whenever you can. You're making sure that your children have a really good experience at home. I know that lots of you will be juggling your own work around that. You're probably juggling different people sharing different spaces. I know this morning I've negotiated to have this room. I've got my two daughters both doing their homeschooling. My wife, who's also a teacher, is trying to prep lessons in another room somewhere, and we're all fighting for the best place closest to the modem so that we can get our Wi-Fi. So it's not easy, families. We get that, but you're doing a fantastic job. So families, this will be winging its way to you later. It's Wheatfield's postgraduate teaching qualification, stage 1, signed by me, strictly limited edition. Be worth a fortune on eBay one day, I'm sure. Very well done, families. Big round of applause. There we go. Okay, so let's move on to our year 5 team. So here we go. Just like that, they say, we are in, and just like that, we're a third of the way through term 3. Suppose we are, aren't we? 2 weeks into a 6-week term. How's that for quick maths? Right, despite the unusual circumstances we find ourselves in, children in year 5 have managed yet again to make a week feel like it's zoomed by through all of the hard work and positivity. It's safe to say that seeing your lovely faces on Zoom made both Miss Rutherford and Mrs. Elmore's weeks. 5R had a great game of bingo and are considering how they can fashion a game of Guess Who for next week. 5E, thank you for bearing with Mrs. Elmore during her power cut. What are the chances of that, she says. Can't wait for Monday's scavenger hunt. Keep being your brilliant, creative, cracking contraption inventing selves. We are so proud. Couple of special mentions. So first for 5E, to Caden, who proudly shared his work on direct speech with Mrs. Elmore before working away furiously to find and correct any marvellous mistakes. You are cracking. And to Cornell, who was balanced completing all of his schoolwork with being a Michelin-starred chef, whipping up a storm in the kitchen for himself and his brother, Jonathan. And then in 5R, Miss Rutherford's shout-outs are for Zach and Charlie for excellent focus and resilience with their work. Zach has wowed me with his maths and English work this week, and Charlie has been super dedicated to making his handwriting and presentation sparkle. So very well done to everyone in year 5. Big round of applause. Okay, so and finally on to our year 6 team. So year 6 say, it has been another great week of home learning in year 6. It's been lovely to see and speak with so many of the children on our class teams meetings. We've been really impressed with the resilience and responsibility shown by the children this week. Even though it's hard to keep momentum at home sometimes, the children have been setting themselves goals to get things done, and so many are managing to work through all of the home learning units. Everyone seems to be particularly enjoying our new science and geography units. This week in 6G, Miss Garraway would like to shout out to Callum, who's been helping his sister with her home learning. They've been playing on Maths Shed together. Well done to Callum and Sienna. Shout out to Isabella, who has also earned herself a shout out this week by impressing Miss Garraway with her learning With her language learning, she wrote a piece on our class book in 6 different languages. Wow. And last but not least, Miss Garraway would like to shout out to Archie. He's been doing so well with getting on with all of his home learning, and he's been doing lots of reading at home, which Miss Garraway loves. He even sent Miss Garraway his latest book recommendations at the end of last week. Thank you, Archie. In 6W, Miss White would like to give a huge shout out to Oliver. He's been working really hard at home to complete the daily learning, and has even been shown the value of responsibility by pushing himself to do the hardest maths sheets. He's also been doing some great logo building, and I've really enjoyed seeing pictures of all of his creations. Miss White has really loved speaking to Shreyash this week, each day. He takes responsibility for his learning by completing all of the home learning and emailing it to Miss White every single day. Miss White has been particularly impressed with his fantastic effort with his handwriting each day. It is so much neater than it was before, so very well done. And then a final shout out for all of the children who have been in the Key Worker group at some point this week. So to Lydia, Anna, Sam, Tyler, Grace, Eleanor, Joseph, Jess, and Freddie. We've had a blast while learning about evolution in science. And there's been an abundance of our school values shown by everyone every day. Well done, gang. So massive round of applause to everyone in Team Year 6. Okay, so thank you to everyone for all of your shout outs, for all of your efforts, for all of your contributions. Now, just a quick reminder about some of the things that are happening. You're probably in step with your home learning, which is great. A little reminder about my videos. You don't have to watch them, but if you want something to do, I'm doing my videos on a Monday and a Wednesday. You don't have to watch them on those days, but I'm doing 2 videos a week about a theme. And then every Friday, we're doing celebration, as we are now. One part of celebration that we did last time, we're going to be doing it every other week this time. And we're going to be doing it this week is Hot Chocolate Friday. Okay, so Hot Chocolate Friday, let's pop it up there, my little caricature. Hot Chocolate Friday, when we used to do it in school quite a long time ago, before the pandemic, the 2 children who'd been awarded certificates each week used to come to the staff room. So we used to have 28 children in the staff room. I would make them a hot chocolate. We'd have a chat together, and sometimes I'd tell them a little story. Now, we can't do it that way during the pandemic, so everyone is invited to Hot Chocolate Friday. It will take place live at 3 o'clock today. What do you need to do? Well, it's quite simple. You need to be online at 3 o'clock with a drink of some sort. Hang on, I've got a mug down here, but it's empty. Okay, bring a drink with you. It can be hot chocolate or just something you like. If you would like to give a shout out to someone during Hot Chocolate, that's what I'll be doing. I'll be reading shout outs that come from you. So this video, the video of this assembly, in a moment, I will unlock it, and that will mean that you can write comments on it. It might take a few minutes for that to happen. So if you want to shout out to someone, leave a comment on this assembly video, and I will read out those comments later, and hopefully we'll have enough to fill. It's normally sort of 15 minutes Hot Chocolate Friday. So if you haven't been along before, come along. If I run out of shout outs, I'll probably tap into the staff team. So staff, if you're watching, you can always use our WhatsApp group to send me any shout outs. And if I run out completely, I'll just talk and you'll have to listen to me babbling on. So listen, thanks for joining us. Sorry it's been a bit longer than normal. Stay tuned, or lots of you are enjoying it after it's not live. See you later. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye.